Everyone called me a freeloader and a gold-digging social climber. Just because I eat what childhood sweetheart buys, drink what childhood sweetheart buys, and even feel possessive about her money, I didn't care. After all, a responsible woman with a strong sense of duty should buy cars and houses for her men and hand over her savings. Is that such a high demand? As the saying goes, a woman who's unwilling to spend money on you isn't worth having. I'm a guy. If I'm not after her money and not after her body, then what exactly am I supposed to want from her? However, just as I was once again gaslighting childhood sweetheart into spending money on me, the next second, rows and rows of bullet comments suddenly floated before my eyes. They read, "This is enough. The vicious male supporting role is gaslighting the female lead again. Female lead, wake up. Spending money on a man will doom you for life." She looked at me and said indignantly, "Then why isn't it you spending money on me?" I smiled. "Because spending money on women dooms you for life." The bullet comments exploded. "George, you're using my own magic against me." Some others wrote, "This is turning the world upside down." And more bullet comments said, "Everyone, just hang in there a little longer. This vicious male supporting role will get his retribution. The male lead has already transferred to the female lead's school. When the time comes, the male lead will domineeringly protect his wife, and the vicious male supporting role will die miserably." Chapter 1. The moment I saw the bullet comments, I was scared half to death. The rest of my sentence got stuck in my throat. Willow lifted her eyes and looked at me, cheeks puffed in anger. After a moment, her beautiful brows knit together, and there was a trace of indignation in her voice. She said, "George, can you stop reading all that toxic relationship crap? You think every holiday requires a money transfer? You've gone too far. I'm done arguing. I'm going out tonight to hang out with my friends. Stop bothering me." In the past, if I had heard something that willful, I would have lectured her for ages. Going out at night to party with friends? What kind of girlfriend? Already supposed to be settling down, still only thinks about having fun. Wouldn't it be better to use that time to take a few more food delivery orders and earn me some extra money? If she doesn't work hard now, how is she supposed to come up with the $388,000 bride price to marry me in the future? But this time, I glanced at Willow's restrained yet displeased expression and thought about my own miserable ending. I swallowed nervously and quickly responded with an I said, "Then go ahead." Willow didn't look happy at all. Instead, her face darkened. She frowned again and said, "It's just a few of my friends, an all-girls gathering. Can you stop being so paranoid all the time?" I froze. Every time Willow secretly went out to meet her friends behind my back, I would blow things out of proportion. I'd accuse her of going out to mess around with her shady so-called friends, and I would even call them one by one to confirm whether any men were attending. I couldn't help it. I have an extremely strong need for control. I don't allow my girlfriend to have any contact with other men. I even made her delete every male contact from her phone. What's wrong with that? I'm just an insecure and overly sensitive guy. She's a grown woman. She should be more tolerant of me. But she never changed. At least today she had improved a little and even took the initiative to explain. My tone softened a bit, and I sincerely hummed in acknowledgement again. "I know. Go ahead." Willow's expression turned even uglier. She took a deep breath, pressed her lips together, and said in an anxious tone, "I'll wear a coat. Okay, and I'll add a black turtleneck sweater. I promise not even my neck will show. Is that enough for you?" "George, don't push it." I glanced at the weather in confusion. It was summer, 24 degrees. Wouldn't she be hot wearing that much? I quickly waved my hands. "No, don't. It's warm out. Dress light." Willow's face looked terrible. She clenched her fists and said angrily, "George, you're ruthless. If I'm not going, then I'm not going." I was completely baffled. Wasn't I the one encouraging her to go this whole time? Willow stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Before leaving, she finally snapped and shouted at me, "George, your need for control is suffocating. Just you wait. One day, you'll pay a painful price for your possessiveness." Chapter 2. Willow's words turned out to be prophetic. My retribution came 3 months later. I was smashed to pieces by a truck. After reading all the bullet comments, I finally understood. It turned out I was living inside a sweet romance redemption novel. Willow was the female lead. I was the vicious male supporting role who had grown up with her since childhood. Her so-called childhood sweetheart. I was filled with a pathological possessiveness toward her, because Willow had a love-brain personality, someone who loses herself completely in relationships. She had been constantly gaslighted by me. Then the sunny, cheerful male lead appeared. Willow's heart wavered. She gradually grew tired of my control, but I still refused to change my bad habits and continued treating her like a man, roughing her up emotionally and ordering her around. When the two of them fell deeply in love, I burned with rage. I started targeting the male lead like a madman and punishing the female lead, doing everything I could to keep them apart. After I framed the male lead once, Willow completely cut ties with me. She even reported me to the principal and teachers, which got me expelled in disgrace. And when it rains, it pours. The Ito family wasn't pushovers. The male lead personally brought people to smash several stores under the Wong family's name. And his older sister set a trap for my family in business dealings, digging a financial pit so deep that we went bankrupt overnight. My studies were ruined. My life was in shambles. I fell into depression. When I saw the news of the male lead and Willow's engagement, I was dazed. I failed to dodge the large truck speeding toward me. I died on the spot. My whole world collapsed. It was clearly summer, yet I felt as if a bucket of icy water had been poured over my head. My hands and feet turned cold, as though I had fallen into an ice cellar. I admit it, I seriously have issues. For example, because of my insecurity, I wouldn't allow her to talk to other men, nor would I allow her to have any male friends. Sure, I had female buddies myself, but that was different, wasn't it? There was nothing but pure friendship between me and my female buddies. But she was so beautiful, with a figure like a young model who knew whether she'd go out and flirt with some guy. And another thing, whenever she had free time, she would binge dramas or fangirl over celebrities. I would stand beside her and nag, telling her she was already an adult and shouldn't just spend all her time watching shows and chasing idols. In a relationship, companionship is the most important thing. She should spend more time gaming with me. Some people said I just couldn't stand seeing her happy, that I always had to find something to make her do, but I never demanded that she be some virtuous housewife. I'm not traditional like that. Just like those strong, independent women always say, being a virtuous wife is self-sacrificing. So what's wrong with me wanting her to be ambitious and responsible? Wasn't I pushing her to improve herself? Wasn't I doing it for her own good? Yet she never appreciated it. She even tried to reason with me. She completely failed to understand that a home is a place for love, not logic. But when I thought about my ending, and about the harsh words Willow had thrown at me before she left, I shuddered in fear. Her ambition was not worth even 1/10,000th of my life. George, your damned need for control. You have to stop. Chapter 3. I had nightmares all night. Bloody scenes of being brutally tormented by the male and female leads filled my dreams. When I went downstairs and saw Willow standing coldly at the door, I instinctively took a step back. Just as I was about to pretend I hadn't seen her, Willow suddenly leaned closer. She reached out and hooked her arm around my neck, her slender, pale fingers adjusting my collar. I stared at her blankly. Willow rolled her eyes at me. Then she took out eggs, milk, and steamed buns from her bag and said impatiently, "Breakfast, eat." I hurriedly took it from her. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Willow unzip her jacket, revealing a white camisole underneath and a small stretch of delicate, beautiful collarbone. By reflex, I was about to start nagging again, but when my gaze met Willow's icy eyes, I almost slapped myself. I had promised to stop. I forced myself to look away. Willow deliberately tugged her collar lower and, in a relatively calm tone, reminded me. I didn't zip up my jacket. I was a little confused. The bullet comments were confused too. One comment read, "What does the female lead mean? Why specifically point out that she didn't zip her jacket in front of the vicious male supporting role? He's only going to scold and gaslight her." Another said, "Here's a joke, don't tell me she did it on purpose, wanting to be scolded by the vicious male supporting role. Did you eat poisonous mushrooms or something?" The female lead is proud and has high self-esteem. She hates being humiliated. She must be dissatisfied with his control but doesn't want to say it outright because of their history. So she's subtly warning him not to interfere. "I see," I quickly said. "It's okay. You don't have to zip it up from now on." Willow's expression instantly darkened. She let out a cold snort, flustered and furious, anger mixed with grievance. She said, "George, it's been a whole night already. You're a grown man. Can you stop stirring up drama like this?" She continued, "You control my body every single day. You won't even let me show my ankles. If we hadn't grown up together, I would have been sick of you long ago." I felt wronged. First of all, how could she use the phrase, stirring up drama, to invalidate the legitimacy of a man's emotional expression? Secondly, I really wasn't being sarcastic. I opened my mouth to explain that I didn't mean anything else by it, but all I saw was Willow's angry figure walking away. The breakfast in my hand suddenly tasted like nothing, impossible to swallow. Her eyes were red at the corners from anger. When I got to class, I overheard her complaining about me to her friends, bad-mouthing me behind my back. She said, "You have no idea how twisted he is. He forces me to buy him gifts on holidays. After school I have to deliver food orders, and he even forbids me from talking to boys. He doesn't care about my feelings at all." Her friend replied, "What a scummy guy. What exactly do you even like about him?" Willow pressed her lips together and said, "In other aspects he's fine. He doesn't smoke or drink, and he cooks pretty well." Her friend shot back, "Sis, can you stop being so love-brained? Is not smoking, not drinking, and knowing how to cook that rare? Maybe such men are hard to find, But which girl can't do those things? At the end of the day, even the most outstanding man is just an average woman. But the very next second, a boy interjected. Are you all losing your minds this early in the morning? Aren't there plenty of girls who pressure guys to work hard and demand grand romantic gestures on holidays? If it's a man doing it, he's despicable, but when it's a woman, sure enough, even the most despicable men are nothing more than ordinary women. Willow rolled her eyes at him and said, Yeah, the incel is already crying in a panic. Then she ignored him and continued talking to her friend. This time I absolutely won't agree to him. I'm going to stand up to him and stay away from him. Suddenly, one of her close friends came up with an idea for Willow. Chapter 4. Willow. That transfer student Makoto came to the party yesterday. He's a rich second gen and handsome too. Since you're going to distance yourself from George anyway, why not sit with Makoto? Willow frowned and fell into thought. The bullet comments erupted in cheers. The male lead has finally appeared. Sweet romance incoming. This is where the vicious male supporting role starts disliking the male lead. Right. He'll try everything to keep them apart, but the female lead will slowly fall for him anyway. In the end, she'll take the initiative to sit with the male lead, and they'll show off their love in every possible way, making the vicious male supporting role look like a total clown. I lowered my eyes and thought, sooner or later, Willow and Makoto would become seatmates rather than be forced away. I might as well take the initiative, at least that way Willow wouldn't hate me even more. I walked up to Willow. She gave a careless snort and said, George, you heard that, right? I have plenty of options. You're not important. You'd better behave and stop controlling me otherwise. But in the very next second, Willow's expression changed drastically. I hadn't had the appetite to eat breakfast. Suddenly, my blood sugar dropped, my legs gave out, and I crashed to the floor. In my hazy state, I heard Willow's remorseful voice. George, I was wrong. Don't scare me. When I opened my eyes in the infirmary, Willow was sitting by my bedside. There were dark circles under her eyes, and her pale face looked exhausted. She pinched my arm hard, biting her lower lip. Anxious and angry, she said, George, you're awful. You skipped breakfast on purpose just to punish me. Do you even know that hypoglycemia can kill someone? I'm not going to let you manipulate me with such vicious, low, disgusting tactics. Willow crossed her arms and rolled her eyes at me. Hearing that, I was just about to yawn, but I forcibly stopped myself. My eyes grew slightly moist. I was about to explain when Willow snorted again. What are you doing? You're a grown man. Why are you crying? I can't stand you. Fine. I'll agree. Okay, I'll work hard to earn money. I'll only sit with you, and I won't go to those sketchy gatherings anymore. Is that enough? My stretching motion froze midair. Wait, is this right? Chapter 5. I did everything I could to change the twisted image of myself as the vicious male supporting role. I tried hard to restrain my need for control. I stopped constantly brainwashing Willow with the idea that women should work hard and support men. When Willow came to see me, I no longer checked her clothes for stray hairs from some other guy. I even secretly threw away, all at once, the little tools at home that I used to punish Willow when she wasn't obedient. Candles, belts, ropes, and the like. Willow noticed my changes, yet she let out a scornful laugh and looked at me with disdain. A new test tactic, she sneered. I won't fall for it again. I felt stifled but had no way to defend myself. I had a prior record. Once, I pretended not to care about Willow, but it was just bait. After she asked a top student for help with her homework, I severely punished her, as if to avoid falling into another trap. Willow behaved impeccably afterward. She didn't talk to boys, didn't interact with them, and went home early every night. The only time she went out was secretly, to wash my clothes and cook for me. In the height of summer, Willow worked part-time in the cafeteria, yet she wore 3 full layers of clothing, covering herself from head to toe. The only exposed part was her flushed cheeks, damp with sweat. Moisture clung to her long, thick eyelashes. Her gentle brows and eyes were soaked in a humid red tint. Already strikingly beautiful, Willow now looked even more alluring. At noon, when it was time to get food, the cafeteria was stifling. Willow was drenched in sweat, so overheated she seemed dazed. Her friend urged her to quit. She refused. I don't want to disappoint George. Her friend told her to take off a few layers. She refused again. If I do, George will scold me. Willow shook her head. Watching her endure the sweltering heat, I was overwhelmed with guilt. I realized just how excessive I had been before. No wonder Willow would eventually choose the male lead. I walked up to her and softly tried to persuade her. Willow, your clothes. My words were abruptly cut off. She puffed up in anger. 3 layers still aren't enough. George, don't push it. I froze and quickly tried to explain. Just then, a tall boy, 188 centimeters, wearing a luxury watch and designer brands, suddenly appeared beside Willow. His tone was filled with disgust as he stood up for her. George, are you a fucking animal? What kind of man makes a woman do all this work? I seriously look down on you. If you can't even provide for your own woman, then step aside. There are plenty of better men who'll treat her right. My gaze landed on the man's fair, clean-cut face. The bullet comments flickered excitedly, reminding me, this was the male lead. Chapter 6. The bullet comments flooded in. Ah, the male lead cutie has finally appeared. Starting off with a redemption scene, won't the female lead be so moved she'll devote herself to him? He's seriously so handsome. The vicious male supporting role thinks no one dares mess with him because of his family background, but our male lead isn't afraid at all. Another comment read, damn it, the female lead has been bullied so badly by the vicious male supporting role lately. Male lead, hurry up and ruthlessly teach that scumbag a lesson. Protect our baby. Willow lifted her eyelids and glanced at Makoto, who had appeared out of nowhere, as if sizing him up. Makoto turned around and greeted her with easy familiarity. Willow, you've been busy so long and haven't eaten yet, right? How about this, would you do me the honor of letting me treat you to a meal? He curled his lips into a faint smile. For no reason, discomfort rose in my chest, but Willow nodded and casually adjusted her clothes. In a soft voice, she said, sure, but maybe some other time. I've been working a lot of part-time jobs lately. I still owe George $500 from last month. Makoto frowned. You owe him money? Willow replied. Yeah, I only made $2,500 last month. I was short $500, so I owe him $500. Makoto stared in shock. You earned less money, so that means you owe him. Willow nodded, her expression serious. Of course, he told me that the money I earn for him is his money. Since it's his money, if I didn't earn enough, doesn't that mean I owe him? A bullet comment flashed by. Bro, which philosopher did this quote come from? Makoto's brows knitted tightly. He looked at me, grinding his teeth. What the hell is this? You're seriously a beast. Anger surged up in me instantly. I took a deep breath and looked at Willow, speaking word by word. I will never force you to be ambitious again. If you want to lie flat and slack off, that's your choice. Willow froze for a moment. Then she pouted. I just talked to a guy for a second. He only invited me to eat. Was that really necessary? Forget it. I just won't go. Okay. After saying that, she turned to Makoto, her expression cooling. My husband is upset. Forget the treat. You should go. Makoto shot me a vicious glare, clenched his fists unwillingly, and left resentfully. Willow threw herself into my arms, rubbing against me, her voice tinged with a hint of coquettish sweetness. You're so domineering. I just spoke to a boy and you got this angry. I pressed a hand to my forehead, a headache forming. Chapter 7. No matter how much I explained or tried to clarify, Willow believed I was testing her, so I stopped interfering with her altogether. Yet Willow did the opposite of what I expected. She restrained herself, worked hard exactly as I used to demand, and kept herself strictly proper. If this had been before, I would have laughed in satisfaction, pleased that I had finally trained her well. But now, I felt restless, as if a sword of Damocles were hanging over my head at all times. In the original story, it was precisely because my need for control intensified day after day that I monitored Willow more and more strictly. Under that kind of high-pressure environment, coupled with my constant attempts to stop her from secretly meeting the male lead, Willow eventually developed hatred toward me, and in the end, decided to destroy me. And lately, I don't know if it's just my imagination, but it feels like Willow has grown increasingly dissatisfied with me. The looks she casts at me in secret seem especially gloomy, resentful and full of grievance. So when the male lead, Makoto, secretly came to see Willow, I pretended not to notice. In reality, I turned on the surveillance camera. Makoto leaned closer to Willow. Willow immediately stepped back to maintain distance and stared at him coldly. Makoto looked a little awkward. He took out a cup of milk tea and said ingratiatingly, "You wouldn't let me treat you to a meal. Surely you won't refuse a cup of milk tea." They were classmates, after all, and Makoto's family, if you traced it back, had quite a bit of history with the Liu family. Willow hesitated and said shyly, "It's not that I'm refusing. It's just that George and I have been in a cold war lately. It's so annoying." Her tone sounded rather aggrieved. Makoto frowned and asked considerately, "Does he treat you badly?" That question hit the mark. Willow's eyes instantly reddened, as if a floodgate had opened. She began complaining. "George is a possessive freak. He controls me so strictly, and lately his demands have become more and more excessive. No matter what I do, he's never satisfied, and he keeps giving me the cold shoulder." Makoto smiled faintly with satisfaction. He moved closer to Willow and patted his shoulder. "It's okay, Willow. If you feel wronged, just cry it out. You can lean on my shoulder." Willow leaned against Makoto's shoulder and burst into tears. "Isn't what I've done enough? I don't talk to boys. I keep my distance from other men. Every day I seriously study the manipulative, duck soup relationship quotes he shares with me. He even once said that where money goes, love follows, so I work 3 jobs every day just to earn money for him to spend. But he won't even directly tell me what I did wrong. Fine. Whatever. But he doesn't even use belts or candles to remind me anymore, and he even took away my favorite handcuffs. Don't you think he's going too far? He must think I don't dare resist him. In his eyes, I'm not even as good as a dog. Tears streamed out of her eyes, and sobs like a resentful wife trembled in her throat. Makoto fell into a strange silence. He quietly clenched his fists, took a deep breath, and forced out a smile. Willow, this is a new era now. What George is doing to you is oppression and exploitation, feudal leftovers. It's wrong. You can resist him. You don't have to endure his bullying. Willow lifted her eyes blankly, as if she had never heard such words before. The bullet comments flickered rapidly. Some bullet comments read, "Oh my God, it's the redemption-type male lead, we're saved." Others commented, "So touching, the female lead lived to 20. And finally someone woke her up. She can finally resist the vicious male supporting role's twisted exploitation. From this moment on, she truly realizes that demanding others spend money on him in the name of love, making them support him, that's oppression and exploitation. That's gaslighting." However, there were also bullet comments that said, "LOL. So you people do know that's called oppression and exploitation." Makoto wrapped one arm around Willow's shoulder tenderly and held her hand with the other, speaking in an encouraging tone. "Willow, fight back. Tell him loudly, you're a person. You don't want to be his dog. Don't worry. I'll be your strongest support." Willow hesitated. Makoto looked confused and cautiously probed. "George treats you like that. You're not actually thinking of being his dog, are you?" Chapter 8. Everyone in school knew that what Willow hated most was being disciplined day after day by me, her childhood sweetheart. She once said, if she could escape my control, she would rather die. So without hesitation, she replied to Makoto, "Do I look like some cheap, pathetic person to you? You're right. This is a new era. George can't control me. I'm going to resist." But the moment she finished speaking, Willow suddenly shifted her tone. Her voice dropped, troubled and distressed. She said, "But you don't understand. George's possessiveness toward me is very strong. If I resist, he definitely won't agree. He might even punish me, scold me, choke me, or lock me in the basement with chains." Willow's face looked sorrowful, yet the rising tone at the end of her words carried an odd excitement. Her body trembled slightly. Makoto didn't notice. He let out a cold laugh, suppressing the vicious glint in his eyes, and said confidently, "Leave George to me. He won't dare compete with me." Makoto brought Willow to confront me. Looking completely assured of victory, he stood over me and lectured righteously. "George, you have no right to order Willow around. She's a person, not your property." Willow nodded as well. "George," Makoto said, "this is a new era. You have no right to control me, and I've figured it out too. Why should a woman support a man? Why should a woman earn money for a man to spend?" Makoto chimed in, "A parasite like you is rare. Aren't you ashamed to live off a woman's money?" I replied calmly, "Not ashamed. I'm a modern independent man." He frowned. "What does that mean?" I answered, "Because being an independent man doesn't mean independently earning money." The bullet comments exploded instantly. The entire screen filled with lines like, "Defeat magic with magic," and "Willow looks as helpless as a man." Willow bit her lip. "George, can you stop being unreasonable? I'm telling you, if you don't want to break up, then you're not allowed to break up." I cut her off calmly. Willow and Makoto both froze. No one knew that inside, I was laughing like crazy. The thing that had troubled me for so long was solved by Makoto in just a few sentences. If I'd known it would be this easy, the male lead should have shown up sooner. Makoto looked at me suspiciously. "George, are you really agreeing to break up with her and set her free?" I nodded eagerly. "I'm about to lose my life. What do I need her money for? What's the point of having money if I won't live long enough to spend it? I can absolutely let go." Willow stared at me in disbelief, still clinging to a sliver of hope. "Are you deliberately speaking in reverse?" I shook my head seriously and explained, "No, I've actually reflected on myself. For me to say things like that before, I was truly shameless, playing both sides, wanting it all. I was too money obsessed. How could I be so lacking in self-respect?" The bullet comments buzzed instantly. "Throwing himself into the game like this. Legendary self-destruct move. Respect." But I really had reflected. Since she despised me, I should let her go. Yet Willow's fists clenched tightly. She bit her lower lip so hard it nearly broke, and her eyes turned bloodshot. It was a little scary. I instinctively shrank my neck. After a long moment, Willow let out a cold laugh. Her voice was icy with mockery. "You'd better mean what you say. Don't control me ever again. You have no idea, before, you tried to control everything. It was really annoying, although I knew the truth. When I actually heard it, my eyes somewhat wanted to pee." Chapter 9. Willow and I completely fell out. With her sudden liberation, Willow no longer had to follow my rules. She could dress lightly, attend parties, and talk to boys, but the person she interacted with most was still Makoto. Every day, I could learn about the progress of their relationship through the bullet comments. Some comments said, Makoto is so gentle. Not only does he not control the female lead, he even encourages her to talk more with classmates. She'll be out of the vicious male supporting role's shadow in no time. Drooling with the male lead support, she finally dares to buy herself cosmetics and sexy little dresses. Wow, that figure, absolutely top tier. Others added, just saying, with looks like hers, no wonder the vicious male supporting role kept such a tight leash on her. But she's destined to belong to the male lead. No use coveting her. I really lost my temper just a little. First, because the bullet comments kept tearing one down to hype the other. Second, because Willow was spending all her money on herself now. With no more financial benefits flowing my way, I buzzed with irritation like a mosquito that couldn't find blood. I couldn't help but grumble. After enduring hardship with her all these years, was my sincerity really going to be thrown away like this? Forget it. If it comes to that, I'll just marry someone rich. While muttering curses under my breath, I accidentally bumped into someone. When I looked up, I froze. Clear eyes, delicate features, tall figure, the kind of presence a professional model would have. Then my gaze dropped to her plain, outdated outfit. The top was loose, sagging, and covered in pilling. The skirt was wrinkled and sloppy. I frowned deeply, disgust written all over my face. That twisted, warped mindset of mine surged up again. Dressed like that, clearly some broke nobody. Guys, who gets this? How do you politely let a woman know that if she has no money, she shouldn't come near me? And she just happened to bump into me, obviously trying to fall into my arms and take advantage of me. Isn't that sexual harassment? What a turn-off. But then I reconsidered. With that kind of looks, did she really need to harass me? For a moment, I genuinely couldn't decide. After hesitating for a while, I asked her directly. The woman was stunned for a second, then laughed softly and shook her head. Her attitude was so gentle that, as the vicious male supporting role, I couldn't help but push further. I immediately lectured her. Even if you didn't sexually harass me this time, you'd better be careful. Don't go harassing other people. Haven't you studied law? Lawyers have said that whether something counts as sexual harassment depends on the victim's feelings. The woman blinked and nodded obediently. Could you teach me? Then, maybe we could exchange contact information. Ever since the bullet comments appeared, I hadn't followed my impulses to discipline Willow. My hands were itching. Now that Willow had gone with Makoto, I didn't plan to discipline her anymore. Training someone else wasn't a bad idea. Without hesitation, I exchanged messaging app contacts with her. A message popped up on my phone. Handsome, my name is Anna. I curled my lip. Calling me handsome right away, she's obviously trying to seduce me. Chapter 10. Once I started educating Anna, I got completely carried away, ruthless and fully immersed. Willow was tossed to the back of my mind. Turns out, the secret to getting over someone is finding someone else. When Willow appeared in front of me again, she was holding Makoto's hand. As if on purpose, she was wearing a black off-shoulder bodycon dress that day. One shoulder was exposed, her beautiful curves fully revealed under the sunlight. In the past, I would have started nagging the moment I saw her, but after glancing at Makoto beside her, I held back. A vicious male supporting role interfering with the male and female leads. That's basically asking to die. I had promised Willow I would never discipline her again. Besides, she and the male lead had been entangled for so long by now, whatever was supposed to happen had probably already happened. What was there left for me to dwell on? I lowered my head and walked past her as if I hadn't seen anything. Willow's expression instantly darkened. She suddenly sneered. George, you've become well-behaved lately. If you had been this sensible before, how could I possibly have left you? Willow hated me. That was an undeniable fact. Makoto shot me a resentful glare. Then, for some reason, he tilted his head slightly, as if showing off. George, Willow and I are together now. You're not so petty that you can't even congratulate us, right? My expression turned cold. I had endured hardship with Willow for over 10 years. Makoto got her in just a few weeks. If I said I wasn't angry, that would be a lie. I looked at Willow. She suddenly straightened up. Her expression shifted from irritation to calm anticipation, as if she were waiting for me to explode like a clown, lose my temper, fight Makoto, and try to reclaim her as if she were property. But suddenly, I didn't feel angry anymore. What's the point? I'm tired. My indifference seemed to irritate Willow. She pressed her lips together. Then, as if acting out of spite, threw herself into Makoto's arms and embraced him intimately. Makoto looked flattered and immediately wrapped his arm around her, shooting me a smug glance. Willow lifted her head to look at me, only to realize that my gaze was fixed straight ahead at her chest. Confused, she followed my line of sight downward. Her neckline had shifted slightly open, accidentally revealing a small patch of pale skin. Willow's face turned instantly panicked, helpless, alarmed. Because of my former, almost pathological need for control, behavior like this in the past would have led to the harshest punishment. No matter how bold she once was, she had never dared to provoke me like this. Makoto seemed to notice her unease, but he simply continued playing the perfect, warm-hearted male lead, encouraging and praising her as usual. Be more confident. You look sexy like this. I like it. I raised an eyebrow, completely indifferent. If you like it so much, then look as much as you want. The anxious tension on Willow's face drained instantly of all color, turning deathly pale. Chapter 11. Willow looked up at me in disbelief. She opened her mouth, but her voice came out strained and hoarse. George, what did you just say? I looked at her in confusion. I couldn't understand why she was wearing the expression of an abandoned little animal. Patiently, I repeated myself. Willow's face turned ashen. She hurriedly tried to explain. George, that's not what I meant. I was just acting out of spite. I just wanted to make you jealous. I raised my hand to stop her anxious words. Sighing, I said, at this point, does it even make a difference? You know what they say, when a woman doesn't value herself, she's like spoiled cabbage. Willow froze in place, as if she had been left standing in a snowstorm. Just then, Anna sent me a message. Husband, is it okay if I only wear this at home? Immediately after, she sent a photo. She was dressed lightly, wearing nothing but a pink cherry blossom apron wrapped around her body. Anna's figure was far better than Willow's. The apron looked one size too small on her, barely covering anything, as though certain parts were about to spill out from underneath it. I felt my irritation spike. My fingers flew across the keyboard. If someone sees you dressed like that, what then? Absolutely not. Take it off right now. Anna replied with a pitiful little oh. She added, if you're not here, I'm wearing it like this unless you come back immediately. I took a deep breath and immediately turned to leave. Damn it, I'll deal with her when I get back. Willow grabbed the corner of my sleeve, still explaining in a small, pitiful voice. Tears clung to the corners of her eyes, threatening to fall. Damn that fragile look. For a moment, I felt like she might shatter. In the past, whenever I was about to punish her harshly, Willow would put on exactly this expression, and every time, I would lose control and soften. Belts, melted wax, I could never bring myself to actually use them on her. Willow had always known exactly how to exploit my weakness, but now, I had neither the mood nor the interest to comfort her. Without hesitation, I pried her fingers off my sleeve. Sorry, we'll talk next time. Willow stood there in stunned silence, staring blankly at the sleeve I had brushed away. Makoto shot me an annoyed look. Then he wrapped an arm around Willow's shoulders and comforted her gently. Willow, George is just a parasitic kleptman, selfish and materialistic. What you two had was never love. Love is feeling indebted to someone, wanting to spend money on them. But he made you spend money on him. Willow, wake up. Look forward. You still have me. I'll protect you for the rest of your life. I'll let you spend all my money. The bullet comments appeared right on cue. Some of them read, being love-brained is a man's best dowry. The vicious male supporting role should learn something. Stop only knowing how to take and demand. Others argued back, right. Love means always feeling indebted and wanting to spend money on the other person. So if the female lead loves the male supporting role, then spending money on him makes perfect sense. No problem there. More comments followed. The male lead is really rare, such a textbook guiding partner. He redeems and uplifts the female lead, slowly helping her walk out of the shadows. Unlike the vicious male supporting role, who only treats her like a dog he can order around. Sigh. How can I meet a man like that who'll uplift me too? She must be so moved right now. Male lead. Hurry and confess. You'll definitely win her over instantly. Another comment floated by. The female lead has strong self-respect. After being humiliated like that by the vicious male supporting role, she'll definitely cut him off completely. From now on, she'll feel nothing but pure disgust toward him. Makoto, as if he could see the bullet comments himself, couldn't suppress the smug smile curling at his lips. He said, Willow, actually, I've liked you for a long time. Since things have come to this, would you be my girlfriend? He added, as long as you agree, I'll put the house and the car under your name alone. To be honest, if we were being precise, although Makoto's family background was good, his family was strict with him. His personal finances weren't generous at all. He looked well off, but he was actually rather tight on money. That was why, in the original story, I had dared to target him again and again. Willow stared at Makoto coldly. Makoto was startled and forced out an awkward smile. What's wrong, Willow? He's just a kleptman living off you. There's no need to hold on to him like this. Willow suddenly let out a soft laugh. The next second, smack, her palm landed sharply across Makoto's face. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling with emotion. You disgusting man. Who said I was dating you? Who gave you permission to lie to George? Be your girlfriend. Who do you think you are? You think you're worthy? Makoto's pupils contracted sharply. Chapter 12. I rushed home in a panic. Anna was already half kneeling at the entrance, looking up at me, her gaze gentle as water. Husband, you're back. I yanked off my belt and, fuming, started disciplining her. Several red marks instantly appeared on her delicate skin. Anna's brows knit slightly. She lowered her eyes, muffled sounds escaping her throat in broken fragments. I was startled, thinking I had hit too hard. I quickly crouched down, only to catch a glimpse of her tightly pressed lips and flushed, delicate face, covered in a thin sheen of sweat. Her expression was filled not with pain, but pleasure. She looked at me in a bewitching way and said, "Husband, I'm sorry. I don't understand the law. I sent you inappropriate photos and harassed you. You should punish me a few more times." My vision went dark. It felt like I had rewarded her instead. When I opened my eyes again, the bullet comments, now calmer before, were flying wildly across the screen. They read, "Sisters, what is going on? Has the plot collapsed? The female lead actually slapped the male lead and wants to cut ties completely. You're only noticing now. I felt something was off for a while. Ever since the vicious male supporting role stopped disciplining her, the female lead hasn't smiled once. She's been walking around with a sour face like someone owes her 8 million. After he drew a clear line between them, it got even worse. To be blunt, she looks like a resentful wife abandoned by her husband. I don't care about the rest, but I just left to check another channel for 2 days. How did the vicious male supporting role end up hooking up with the male lead's cousin? That's the real clear-headed, powerful female lead, the Sue family's eldest princess. How did she get written into this setting? Has this world gone insane? My eyes locked onto that last comment. Then I slowly looked at Anna's face as she knelt before me. She's the male lead's cousin. In the original story, she was the one who set up my family and caused us to go bankrupt overnight. I felt like the sky was collapsing. Anna was now gently massaging my legs, her expression devout. I quickly stumbled back a few steps, panic flooding my face. Anna looked at me in confusion. "Master, have I displeased you?" I stared at her deeply. Could I tell her that in the future she would ruin me overnight and leave me homeless? She would think I had gone insane. I forced myself to remain calm. I pulled out a stack of cash and threw it to her. "I'm just bored of this. You can leave." I shoved the door open and ran, stumbling and scrambling, so frantically that I didn't notice the darkness that flickered across Anna's eyes in that instant. Chapter 13. I hid away and forced myself to calm down for several days. My phone was flooded with messages and missed calls. All of them were from Willow, but I had no energy to deal with that right now, because Anna seemed to have gone insane. No matter where I went, I would see her, at any time, anywhere. She would suddenly kneel down, looking troubled and innocent as she told me, "Master, I don't understand the law again. Will you punish me?" If I still couldn't tell she was doing it on purpose, I'd be an idiot. Once again, Anna blocked me at the doorway. I felt like crying. She slowly knelt down, dressed conservatively from head to toe. "Master, don't avoid me. I am yours. Everything I have is yours. Cars, houses, savings, even my company. I'm willing to hand it all over. You can discipline me however you like. Am I not better than Willow?" My eyes widened. Anna even knew about Willow. Before I could speak, an eerie voice came from behind me. "Shameless woman, who do you think you are, wanting George to discipline you?" Willow stepped out from the corner, her face twisted with jealousy. After just a few days apart, she had grown much thinner. Like before, she was wrapped up tightly. No, more tightly than before. She had never worn a collar in the past, always saying I was humiliating her. In my moment of distraction, the two of them were already fighting. Anna clearly had the upper hand. Willow quickly fell behind, yet she kept staring in my direction, her voice hoarse. "George, I was wrong. I shouldn't have gotten involved with Makoto. Please don't ignore me. I can't live without you. Please talk to me. I'll work hard and save up 388,000 as a bride price. I promise I won't let you suffer with me anymore. I'll give you happiness." I stood there dumbfounded, staring at them. The next second, before I could react, someone covered my mouth and nose. I was violently knocked unconscious and dragged away. When I woke up again, I saw Makoto's twisted, venomous face. Through clenched teeth, he snarled, "Why? I'm the male lead. Wasn't the script supposed to be that a simp gets everything in the end? Why are they both choosing you?" From Makoto's increasingly hysterical ramblings, I finally learned the truth. Makoto was an illegitimate child. That was why he had gone to such lengths to marry into the Liu family, to secure his position. When he saw the bullet comments and discovered that he was the male lead and Willow the female lead, he immediately transferred schools, drove me away, and believed that by groveling like a simp he could win Willow's heart. But he hadn't expected that Willow would not only reject his confession, but actually despise him. Deep down, she looked down on him. Makoto hated me to the core. He wanted to drag me into the sea and die together. As we plunged into the water, two figures jumped in at the same time, desperately swimming toward me. Through the blur, I saw the desperate, agonized expressions on Willow's and Anna's faces. When I opened my eyes again, all I saw was a snow-white ceiling. Neither Makoto nor I had died. Makoto was sentenced to life imprisonment for attempted murder. I was severely injured and would have to stay in the hospital for half a year. Willow and Anna sat beside my bed, both looking worn and haggard. After a long silence, they spoke. We're aware of what's going on with the plot, but we would never treat you like that. George, can you give us a chance? We're willing to transfer all our assets to you. We'll even mark them as voluntary gifts. However you want things to be. We'll follow your lead. I swallowed. The two of them refused to give up, no matter what. What a hassle. But then again, who would argue with money? No, who would argue with sincerity? The truth is, I'm a good man, all along. What I wanted was never money. What I wanted was just an attitude. I pressed my lips together and looked out the window. The spring sunlight was bright, greenery flourishing everywhere. A perfect season for forgiveness.